Well, hello, everyone. It's good to be back here again. My name is Greg Ferrara, President and CEO of the National Grocers Association, and I'm so pleased to have one of NGA's important members, but also a good friend of mine, John Abbene with BRdata, here for our next iteration of our Fireside chats. John, welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for this opportunity.
So, John, you and I have known each other a long time. Actually, I think it goes back to a period of time where I, been an independent retailer, and then came and worked for NGA and went back home to Louisiana and worked for Associated Grocers at Baton Rouge. And I think that's the first time we got to know each other when they were onboarding you guys into their platforms. Tell us a little bit about BRdata as a company and what you guys are focused on.
Sure. Greg, I've been with BRdata now 34 years, so a little while. I started out. My entire professional career has been at BRdata. So I started out as a young lad, doing operations, building, doing some technical work, and then I found my passion with developing software, right? And specifically developing software for independent grocers. So I remember the early days, working and writing code in a back office of a retailer store, just solving problems for them. BRdata has been around since 1979. My brother Rick started the company in 1979. I've been there since '89. So we're a family operated company, just similar to a lot of our independent retail customers. So we definitely relate on that level. So BRdata started out providing software solutions for independent grocers, and we've grown to having over 7,000 stores that we support that run our applications, and working with some of the top wholesaler and partners in the country. So, our core competencies here at BRdata, anything related to item, price, promotion, inventory management, data analytics, reporting, aggregation. I like to, and with our recent acquisition, now loyalty is at the forefront of our core competencies. I like to, describe BRdata as a mini ERP solution developed specifically for the grocery industry. That's our only vertical. That's all we work with. So we build this application. We do everything except accounting and point of sale. We try to handle everything in between that and be a trusted solution for our partners in that space.
So, John, obviously, you guys deal with data. That's what you do. You pull data in, you crunch that data, and you use that information in a way to help independent retailers make decisions that allow them to manage and grow their business and connect with their customers. But data can be overwhelming, particularly for, those companies that don't have a 100-person IT department and data scientists on staff. It can quickly overwhelm a company. So can you talk a little bit about data, and particularly how independent grocers should be utilizing data today?
Absolutely. So independent grocers today obviously operate in a very complex and demanding environment. To effectively provide these type of analytics, Greg, you need to have all the components to make that reporting meaningful and actionable. And where does that start? So that starts with the point of sale transaction log data. You need to be able to process that information quickly and efficiently. You also need to have the item, price, cost information that's involved in that data set, and that information comes from their wholesalers and their direct vendors that they supply with. So you need to be able to get all that information together and load that into a reporting solution that's easily accessible. We've been working with these interfaces for over 40 years at BRdata. We support all the major point of sale systems out there. We do the receiving, the inventory, the management, so we could easily tie all that information together. Over the past couple of years, in the grocery industry, we've seen a lot of companies come and go with cool technology in this space, but really what it comes down to is having that data and being able to gather that data quickly and efficiently. Our model here at BRdata is we have the data. Our systems have been providing data that have been running these businesses for these independent grocers and wholesalers and retailers for many years. So it was a natural transition for us to provide a solution that they can easily access this information. Once you get through the basics, then they do things like financial reporting. They load their purchase data in there. They do forecasting. They do budgeting. All that into one one location where they could grab that information. And one thing I want to point out, Greg, is having BRdata is not a requirement for a solution like this, right? So you could put this reporting solution on top of an existing system if you're not ready to change out your back office or your whether it's homegrown or another system out there. We could bolt into that type of system. If you're a BRdata customer, obviously all that information is easily fed in and easily implemented, but there's no limitation there onto who could run a platform like this.
So John, you're pulling all this information in together, and you're trying to digest it in a way that independent grocers and wholesalers can consume it, right? They can break it down and help make decisions to grow that business. One of the programs that we've been proud to launch with you guys is called Independent Insights, and that's something you and I have talked about for a number of years. And the idea was how do we help get some visibility into what is going on in that independent retail channel. That's a $253 billion segment of the supermarket industry. Our members are privately owned companies, so they're not publicly traded companies. They're not necessarily sharing a lot of this data, these insights of what's happening in this channel. And so it's sometimes a black hole for not only retailers, but others within the industry. So talk a little bit about Independent Insights. What is it? And then, talk a little bit about what you've seen from retailers that are using that platform, how they've been able to utilize that to help grow their business.
Absolutely. So all these analytics that I just discussed, Greg, that all sounds great, but it was always limited to that independent retailer. Maybe they have a single store, maybe they have a chain of stores, but it's limited to that view, right? They can't go further than that, right? So why can't an independent grocer have a solution to access data across other independent grocers? So that's something that I believe, I was thinking back, Greg, and I think it was 2019, in the winter of 2019, when I first approached you on that idea. We were brainstorming. We were like, but this is something we have to do. We could definitely provide this great solution for independent grocers. So a little more than a year later, I think NGA Independent Insights was born, and then it was launched at an NGA show last year, right? At the NGA show. So we've been the product has been very successful. Right now, there's 1,500 stores, aggregated stores on that platform.
Aggregated and anonymous. So all the data is completely anonymous and protected.
Absolutely. That's a key point there, Greg. So, when you really look at it, so you talked about the volume of independent grocers. So they're in the range of 22,000 stores, somewhere around there, if you bring them all together. So when you look at that compared to the largest chains out there, right? So if you look at if 10% of them got together and shared their data, they're now as big as the third largest chain in the country. If a little less than 15%, they're larger than the second largest chain in the country. That may change depending on what happens over the next couple of months. But then when you look at, even if they got 20%, 22%, now they're as large as the largest chain in the country. So there's a lot that comes in there to sharing that data and being able to access that information. Those big chains, they use that information every day to make decisions, to find opportunities, and to find trends within their stores and help them run their stores and operate their businesses. So what Independent Insights does, is it's basically it provides three core uses with the initial version that we did here, Greg, right? So you got discovery, benchmark, and opportunity, right? When it comes to discovery, right? So as you said, this anonymous data. So I'm an independent grocer. I look at this view and I can see what's trending nationwide, what's trending in my region, what's trending in my state, right? So I could look at top trending items and see I'm not even carrying that item. That's a problem there. Maybe my wholesale is carrying, I could get that item quickly, right? So that would be your discovering. When it comes to benchmark, right? How am I selling this item compared to other independent operators in my state, nationwide, in my region? That's another good use for it. And then opportunity, maybe there's an item that's really strongly trending with units sold, but the price is pretty much staying the same. So there's a true demand for that item. There's an opportunity, to potentially make a change there, increase your bottom line.
So John, we've got the insights. It's given us some ideas of what's going on in markets across the country, what's going on with other independent grocers. But the other piece of information you need and our retailers want is the insight to their consumers, right? What's happening with consumers? What are their trends in the stores? Let's talk a little bit about loyalty and what BRdata is doing in this space. You guys had a recent acquisition, which I know we were excited to see. So tell us a bit about loyalty really quickly and how your customers are using that to further connect to their customers.
Absolutely. Having a loyalty program in place today is crucial for any independent grocer. And a lot of them, some of them have implemented them, some have had success with loyalty, some not. What it really comes down to is what value are you providing your consumer to run this loyalty program, right? So we've all seen loyalty programs forever in this industry, right? Is it just, I'm scanning a number or entering a number and getting a discount? What's the value there, right? You go in there and you get that. What is the retailer really doing for his guests and customers with that type of program? Where we've seen success with this is we developed a really cool program with Associated Food Stores in Salt Lake City over the past couple of years, and they really provide a lot of value to their consumers, right? So they have a points program where they could either provide cash back or gas points to the customer. They do the digital coupons and offers. We've all seen the Baby Club and the Pet Club. They run 20 of these things simultaneously. Buy 10 coffees, get the 11th free, buy 10 juices, buy 10 sandwiches. So it's not just limited to this one area. You could run all these things. So you look at right on your app, oh, I bought 8 coffees. I need to buy another 2 to get my free coffee, right? It's kind of gamify that the way the airlines have done it, right? So that's important into being a successful loyalty program, is providing that value to the consumer. And the acquisition of Salatech, it's been great. It's been so exciting for both us at BRdata and our customers. It really allows us to bring this really cool loyalty platform to a larger subset of our user base.
So, John, let's kind of bring our conversation to a close around the topic of the day, probably the topic of the year. It's AI, and that's a big word, right? I talk to people all the time, and they say AI and kind of throw it around like it's this new invention out there, and there's a lot of new stuff happening, right, with Chat GPT and other tools that are out there. But the reality is, many of us have been using AI in our lives for a long time. You start typing in Outlook today, and it finishes the sentence for you. BRdata has been using AI for many years to help your customers better price and increase margins in their store and better run their stores. So, talk a little bit about kind of your perspective on AI and how you guys are utilizing it.
Absolutely, Greg. And I'm so excited to see AI really come into the forefront of the world today, because we've been throwing that term around, and you've heard it thrown around for a long time. And people are like, AI, what is that? That doesn't, it really doesn't mean much. But now everybody knows about it. So there's generative AI, which is what the Chat GPT is doing, and getting this large language model and pulling data together and answering real questions. And then there's discriminative AI, which is really what our data scientist likes to say is it's solving a really large, complicated math problem that he doesn't have time to solve, right? So it's really identifying these opportunities. The 3 main uses that we use for it is your demand pricing, to increase, profit by category or revenue by category, sales and inventory forecasting, and then also customer loyalty. We're really diving into adding those AI capabilities to our customer loyalty solution, right? So now, you could use those AI trends to identify your trends with your customers. Potential lost shoppers. Identify that lost shopper before they become the lost shopper. This particular customer is trending off. I need to go in and send them a deal, and we've run some processes. We've run some models, run some test cases on this, and we've seen some great results. Just things like that. I'm trying to get that customer back before I lose them. Targeting and rewarding these customers, building these segments, with having the system build these segments for you. So it's really just taking this massive amount of data and identifying opportunities and solving problems. We're a bunch of programmers here at BRdata for a long time. We had this massive treasure chest of data here, for thousands of stores. And it wasn't until we brought in that data science team to really uncover these things, and they're thinking on a whole different level than what we're doing here as programmers. So an independent retailer, they're not going to have that opportunity to hire a full-time data scientist. So they need to have tools that will bring that technology to them right on their phones or right on the browser, wherever they are.
Yeah, I think that's great, John. I mean, I think that's what's great about NGA. We do a lot of great things. Right up the road where I am at the U.S. Capitol, where I'll be here in a couple of hours. But the other thing we do is, we bring together important partners like yourselves and many others in this organization, and help our members connect and be able to compete very successfully at a level as good, if not quite frankly better, than the chains that are out there, just because of their connection to their community. So I just wanted to thank you for all that you guys are doing. Thanks for your work on the independent insights. Encourage again our members to look into that if you're not already doing so through BRdata, through NGA, nationalgrocers.org/independent insights. And we're excited to have you guys speaking, I believe, on AI at our upcoming in October Executive Conference and Public Policy Summit. That's here in Washington, D.C. once again. It'll be October 23rd through the 25th. That is a conference where we want our owners, where we want our leaders in our member companies to be at, because we're going to be really focusing on the future of AI, the future of marketing, the future of technology. That's where you need to be. It's really a fantastic conference and has gotten just tremendous feedback. And then, of course, you can't miss the NGA show. You guys always have an amazing presence there. We appreciate that so much. A little bit later this year, thanks to the Super Bowl, which is in Las Vegas, be October. Got to pull it together. Be March 10th through the 12th in Las Vegas. We had a fantastic show last year, thanks to folks like John being there, and looking forward to doing so again. John, thanks for your partnership and friendship. We appreciate it. Thanks to our members for tuning in to listen to this insights. I hope you picked up some good information about what's going on, a little bit about our partner at BRdata and NGA as well. And we look forward to working with you for many years to come. John, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Greg. And Greg, I just want to point out one last thing, if I could. So BRdata, when we first started, we were a small local company in the tri-state area. Where we are today, an industry leader because of our partnership with NGA. I mean, we've grown our company by going to these trade shows and meeting with these retailers nationwide who are all collaborating, learning, and looking for technology solutions. So I appreciate everything that we've done together over the years, Greg. Thank you.
That's what it's all about, partnerships. That's what this industry is, and we certainly appreciate that. Thank you, John, and thank you to our members for tuning in. Look forward to you seeing our next Fireside Chat here at NGA.
Thank you, Greg.